News Radio 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. It's time for our monthly update because for many years now, we have been watching the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority try to develop a plan called Access Oklahoma. I was shocked by it early on when I saw that some of my friends were going to lose their homes because there was going to be a turnpike supposedly to take people off of I-35 and also to get people on an east-west connector. The upshot of it was it seemed like there were going to be 3 different toll roads being built through Cleveland County. Joining me this evening are Randy Carter, who is the Director of Strategic Communication, and Tassie Hirschfeld, a board member for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. They have the website PikeOff OTA. They also have a No More Turnpikes, and they have other ways that you can get important information. So since we last talked, Randy, I'll start with you. What have been the major developments of the Turnpike Authority, if you will?
Well, they just keep plugging away. At the recent board meeting, they voted on a resolution of necessity, which means that they think it's possibly necessary to use the eminent domain process to confiscate people's property and destroy their homes in order to build these unwanted, unneeded, and grossly overpriced turnpikes. They have not. We're not aware that they've actually done anything with it. It's just a matter of they were able to get the OTA board to rubber stamp their request, and it's kind of like it's in their quiver. I don't think they've actually used it yet, but again, we're not privy to that kind of information until it's somehow made public, or until some of our people request information. What's that called, Tassie? Freedom or information request?
Open records.
Thank you. I don't know why I have problems with that. Did we make an open records request to find out what's going on with a particular piece of property?
But if you had a piece of property and people knew that the Turnpike Authority had your property, let me ask you this. Have they decided the routes exactly? Or is everybody that lives in Cleveland County, I know that's kind of a wide swath, but are the many residents of Cleveland County that thought they were safe, now they're not, and the ones that weren't now are safer? Have they continued on that? Have they announced where they want the property?
Yes, they had a recent announcement that the southern extension, they have not made any changes to the east-west, significant changes. They always keep saying that it could move a little bit either way, depending on more investigation of the terrain and whatever else is out there that they may have to avoid. But yes, they've changed the route. It was originally going to go between 72nd Avenue Northeast, or between East 72nd and East 84th. In Norman, city limits of Norman, out towards Lake Thunderbird. And as I'm sure you remember, the Bureau of Reclamation denied them access to cross their fee title land, and so consequently they have had to move their projected route about 2 miles west, closer towards the core of Norman. And it now, for the most part, well, there's still a little change. For the most part, through Norman, it runs between 48th and 60th.
And does it parallel I-35 there?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is one of the things that they have always said, that they don't want to build turnpikes that parallel existing highways. So that's a little bit of a conflict in my mind. But it does, as it gets further south, once it crosses Highway 9, then it begins to veer a little bit towards the east, and it goes east of 60th, between 60th and 72nd, for a few miles before it cuts back over, crosses Highway 77 and the Canadian River and into Purcell, where just north of Purcell is where it'll connect to I-35, and that's their plans, and that's what they announced. So actually, it relieved a lot of people that were originally under the gun, sweating bullets for 3 years, and now there's a whole new group of people that are going to be sweating bullets for fear that their home is going to be taken. We do know that they have started taking property along the east-west connector,
which is Indian Hill Road, correct?
Basically, Indian Hills Road, coming from Newcastle, going east, crossing the Canadian River, connecting to I-35, and continuing on east, basically paralleling Indian Hills Road until it gets past about 84th Avenue. Then it starts to veer north and head over and connects to the Kickapoo Turnpike at I-40 is their plan.
So it sounds like they're trying to avoid Norman and Moore altogether.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're basically going right between Moore and Norman. Indian Hills, a lot of it is that is the dividing line between Moore and Norman, in quite a bit of the area there. So for people that have not been paying attention to this and think, well, I drive the Kilpatrick Turnpike, it's pretty nice. I drive, the Turner Turnpike, it's pretty nice, and all that. Tassie, you are our truth teller and our researcher. What do we need to know about the Turnpike Authority that would make us realize there's some real red flags in building more toll roads? Yes.
Well, how much time do you have? There's so many. I think that the most important one is that these proposed routes, they have never presented any kind of real justification. They were announced as a safety issue, but the traffic safety, the accident rate in Cleveland County is lower than most of the other counties in Oklahoma. Then they started talking about economic development. Well, okay, but you're not allowed legally to use eminent domain. You can't take people's homes because somebody wants to put a business there. And the cost, they will never be cost effective. They will never repay those bonds. It'll be at least 200 years, and then probably more because they have terrible cost overruns. And honestly, this might be either the most or least important fact, depending on your point of view, but they've just been jerks about it from day one. Belligerent. They refuse to engage with city residents. They refuse to answer questions from homeowners. They are just like, we're doing this and you don't get a say. Well, and that honestly bugs me more than anything. And
there are no environmental studies, as I understand.
Zero. Yeah.
Nope.
And they are not required because they're not using federal funds. Again, so it just looks like that they don't think anyone has oversight over them. They can do whatever they want. And whatever government agency is supposed to have oversight, they just find a workaround. And that also really bothers me.
But you all aren't going to quit. I mean, I think now that your homes are in the clear and these whole new group of people look like deer in the headlights. I mean, they had no idea, all that. And lucky for them that you advocates and citizens, are standing up and continuing the fight because it's so important. I'll tell you what, I need to take a small break. But when I come back, I want you to leave us with some important thoughts that we need to know about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority and why more toll roads is not necessarily better for the state. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. It's time for our PikeOff OTA update of what is progressing on Access Oklahoma. It's Access Oklahoma is what I call it, if you've listened to me before. Randy Carter and Tassie Hirschfeld join me, and they are bringing us up to date on the status of the things that are going on with the Turnpike Authority. I think one of the things everybody needs to realize is these bonds are going to take 200 years if you were going to pay them off, and that the tolls will continue raising to help cover the costs of the turnpike. And there's nothing citizens can do about it. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there are small things that could hopefully help. So try to put pressure on your legislators. Now, our representatives in Norman are very much behind us, but other parts of the state, they don't realize what's going on. And those people somehow end up on the transportation committee, and they just go along with whatever OTA wants. So we really need people all over the state to recognize this threatens them too. It's going to cost $100 to drive from Oklahoma City to Tulsa if we don't get this under control. So the more they can put pressure on elected officials, the better.
And it's just shocking, isn't it? I mean, I find it, you are so right. If you don't take the turnpikes, you don't feel like you're affected. Or if you don't have them threatening to disrupt your whole life, then you don't feel connected. But we need something to happen, where people understand the impact that this has and that everyone in the state is affected. So do you all have a plan for that, Randy?
Well, we are working on various things. There's some things in the works that probably we shouldn't be talking about publicly until things happen. So yes, we're working on some things. I'm sorry that sounds cryptic, but
no, I want it. I don't want to be the one that reveals everything, but we should encourage people that there is a movie, PikeOff OTA movie, and hopefully it will be available for public distribution or whatever, where people can see what is going on. You all did a documentary. If you don't know about that, look into Tulsa and to the Gilcrease Turnpike that those neighbors had no idea. Now they get to pay a toll to get into their neighborhood unless they want to go all the way around. I mean, it's happening.
And I think that's one of the things that I think that everybody should be aware of, that the Turnpike Authority is basically 70 years of broken promises. Initially, when the Turner was instituted, they promised the citizens of Oklahoma that once it was paid off, it would be a free road. They've been reneging on that promise for 70 years now. I believe when the Gilcrease was proposed, supposedly there was going to be a free section like there is, where is that? There's a free section around Lawton, that you can get around Lawton and not have to pay a toll. In fact, actually, there's a case around the Claremore-Catoosa, Claremore and Catoosa area, and I believe former President Pro Tem of the Senate, Stratton Taylor, is running that legal gamut to, I think, basically, again, I'm not an expert on this, but I believe they're suing the Turnpike Authority because initially the Turnpike Authority promised that there would be a free section where people could, locals could go around town, but that did not happen. They just never did it. And one of the reasons that they were going to do it is because I believe the highway department was going to build the highway, and they thought, well, there's no need to do that if the turnpike's going to be here. Again, it'll be paralleling roads, so we'll just make this free to the public. And then once it was built, gee whiz, how about that? The toll booths were still there, and they're still collecting tolls on that. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But we would certainly love for the Turnpike Authority to wind itself down, to turn all those roads back into free roads like they were initially promised. That's what the people were promised. And yet somehow, some way, they've managed to keep charging everybody tolls for years and years and years and years.
It's important to remind people, too, that the Will Rogers bonds were actually paid off. They just found a workaround and decided to keep charging people money to drive on it. And so, again, when we complain that this agency is out of control, that they do not respect citizens or even feel like any rules apply to them, that's what we mean. So that needs to stop.
Well, and there's a really good thing, a real good gadgetry thing going on is you work for the Turnpike Authority, and then you retire from the Turnpike Authority, and then you become a contractor to the Turnpike Authority, and you still get all that money.
Yes, ma'am. It's a revolving door all the way around, lots of conflicts of interest. And again, somebody somewhere, it should be somebody's job to be like, hey, that's a conflict of interest, but it just doesn't seem to happen.
Well, and I'm not so sure the Oklahoma Supreme Court understands either. I mean, I think they've told Tom Elmore one time, well, we need good roads, so...
Well, and we have no issue with needing good roads, but we don't need roads that are overpriced and that are not necessary in those particular locations. And we don't need roads that are built just to issue new bonds in order to pay off the bonds that your operation can't pay off in the first place. Stan Ward called it a Ponzi scheme, and that's what it is. They're proposing these new turnpikes to generate bonds to pay off the bonds that they can't pay off with their regular operations. They're kicking the can down the road to future generations. Our children and grandchildren are going to bear the brunt of this mismanagement and fiscal irresponsibility.
Well, what is the status in Norman? I know the city council voted against it not to work with the Turnpike Authority. And then the county commissioners voted to work with them. What is the status there now? Do county commissioners trump? I hate to use that word.
Well, we very much hope to have new county commissioners because my own preliminary assessment is that was not entirely kosher what they did. They were trying to find a workaround to the city council, who was firmly opposed. And I think they found some, let's call it ethical flexibility on the county commissioners, and they decided to bend some rules. But I don't see it's workable because the county cannot approve access roads that the city will have to maintain. They have not worked that out yet.
The county cannot approve roads that the city would have to pay for and maintain. Well, isn't that
well? I believe the Turnpike Authority will pay for the roads, but then the maintenance falls to the local municipality.
Well, and there's that giant bridge that's involved as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that's another sticky wicket, Gwen. We're not quite sure how that is exactly going to work, and to build a gigantic bridge that doesn't touch the water is going to be a major engineering feat.
There's a fair amount of magical thinking going on in some quarters.
I like it. Magical thinking. Okay, what's the best way to find out more and get involved with PikeOff OTA?
PikeoffOTA.com is a website that has lots and lots of information about the turnpikes and a way to help. If you want to volunteer, we want to get involved, find out more, you're more than welcome to do that on there. There's also a place, if you'd like to make a contribution, a donation to our cause. We are all volunteers involved in this. If legal action does happen to occur, there will be expenses involved with that, and we would certainly appreciate any of the public support on that as well. No More Turnpikes is a Facebook page that a lot of our group, a lot of people interested in these turnpikes get on and share information. It's not officially a PikeOff OTA Facebook page, but yet there's a lot of information that people could both contribute and discover on. So we would encourage people to get on that as well.
And I will say the membership in that group has exploded. It's over 10,000 now. So I think everybody in the state is fed up, and we just have to keep the pressure and the information flowing and get the word out.
Oh, that's good information. And, I have said this many times, but they have picked on a group of well-educated, smart, savvy people that are willing to work for the betterment of Oklahoma, not just for themselves, but for the betterment of Oklahoma. I mean, I admire your group so much just for all the hard work and all that. If you volunteer, what kind of things does a volunteer do?
Oh, we need some help with like event planning and just little stuff, newsletter, volunteer coordination. Just, it's not a huge time commitment, but every little bit helps.
And we do have various fundraisers. We're, in fact, coming up after the first of the year, we have a chili cook-off that is fun and informational, but it also helps to raise money for our cause. We have various other events that raise money, and we need help planning those and publicizing those. What else, Tassie? I'm thinking.
We also just like to get together because we have a good time. So anybody's just welcome to come and hang at one of our events. You don't have to be like super riled up about turnpikes. Just come get educated and meet the people.
Randy Carter, Tassie Hirschfeld, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate the monthly updates. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And again, pikeoffota.com, or you can go on Facebook and see they're incredibly intelligent people involved in this movement, and you would probably like to know them. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Faulconer.